C-H-I-C-A-G-O, claws up, bear down, red zone, let's go. C-H-I-C-A-G-O, claws up, bear down, red zone, let's go.
What's happening, everyone? Welcome back on Bear Down. What a big week we've had. Oh, Thanksgiving weekend kind of distracted me a little bit. A lot of things I could have brought to your guys' attention. A lot of things I could have followed on, but I do appreciate you guys for tuning in, being a part of this. I usually do my grades after the games. I did a little short video right after, so I kind of let that be the sufficient for the weekend. Here we are getting into Sunday, and I do want to go over a couple things I said during the mini buys. I want to bring how the team's doing. I did it in a different format last time. This time I'm going to bring up two different videos. I'm going to do offense and defense. So first we're going to start with the offense. And I think this is going to help a lot of people who think we should only go offensive line draft heavy. Because I am completely in agreement. We have to retool our offensive line. But our starters are not the problem. If our starters were healthy the entire season, we would be an average to above average offensive line. The fact is the defensive line, even with our best starters out there, are a bottom third of the league line. They just don't cut the mustard. Yes, we got to protect Caleb. Yes, we got to make sure our offense is clicking. I completely agree with you guys. So I'm going to go into that on this one. I'm going to go into the defense on the other one. But how are we doing so far through 12 games? We're 4-8. I mean, we're basically mathematically eliminated from the playoffs. We're doing so poorly that we have mutinies happening in the locker room. And I think a lot of you guys have heard about this by now. I wanted to do a video in the moment, and it probably would have been a good one because bottom left here, you guys know I like to use my little bear down pointer. Bottom left here, right before this game, before the last one, Jalen Johnson appeared to be very physically upset and frustrated with this team. And to me, I took it as apathy. I took it as him going through his own struggles. But he said, we're not really built to win right now in 2022. But now in 2024, he said, we're built to win, and then he alluded to it being a coaching issue. Well, after this game, the rumors and the news, official news, not official, shouldn't say from the team, but good sources have now come out and say Jalen Johnson went crazy post-game, quoting a Bears player saying he went crazy. Another player said he was going off at the former head coach, and the locker room lost it. And normally in those situations, you'd have guys pulling people back and say, hey, calm down, we're a team, we're cohesed. But Kevin Warren and Ryan Poles were there to witness it. That's huge. And if you guys didn't see from Dave Wannstedt, after the game and before he got fired, Dave Wannstedt said, you can lose games. You can lose a lot of games. And you can be, a team that doesn't make the playoffs. You can lose, and you can still have the locker room, and that's fine. Teams can come together and gel and grow and build. But when you lose the locker room, you got to go. And this is a clear indication of that's what happened. He lost the locker room. The team didn't respect him anymore. The players didn't respect him anymore. And there was no other option but to go. And then when you listen to press conferences with Caleb Williams and with DJ Moore and with other players absolutely praising Thomas Brown. And then when you hear about Sean McVay actually saying how impressed he is with Thomas Brown and he can see this coming and it's not a situation you love to see happen for a team, but Thomas Brown is the right man for it, there's going to be a huge opportunity for Thomas Brown here. So as you can see there right by me, profile says interim head coach now. Interim head coach. So first season with the Bears, and he's already rises the ranks in just 3 or 4 weeks. He's gone from offensive play calling coordinator to offensive coordinator to interim head coach. So huge steps for Thomas Brown. Make no mistake, this is a huge opportunity for Thomas Brown, who now gets to coach the last 5 games of the season. Won a Super Bowl with the Los Angeles Rams, became the scapegoat in Carolina for the debacle that was Bryce Young in his rookie year and how terrible the Panthers did. So he was let go after 1 year of being the offensive coordinator under Frank Reich. But Sean McVay, as the Bears look for a new head coach, it's becoming clear they need a leader of men, someone who demands respect. And Sean McVay just said in his own press conference, about Thomas Brown. He has always been a guy that had incredible command. He's been a great competitor. He kind of demands respect from people he's around just by the way he carries himself. And I think he's going to do a great job. There are certain people, when you watch them, you're like, man, they're a little different. In terms of competitiveness, the spirit, the never say die attitude, and then just his overall presence in general is impressive. I think you guys will be impressed, and I'm happy for him and for this opportunity. That's what Sean McVay said. So I think it's huge for Thomas Brown. Am I convinced he's a lock to keep the job after next season? No. But if we run the table here and he wins every game from here on out, they'll strongly have to consider him. And we've seen those type of things happen before when organizations get shook up and when they bring someone new in. So it very well could happen. All right, I know I'm tiny up here in the corner. I'm not the highlight of this video. This is going to be another one of those stats, meat and potato type of videos. So let me jump right into it. I want to compare how we did this last game, and then with Caleb, I'm going to do how he's done under Thomas Brown as an OC, and then for the over 24 season. This is going to go position by position. So we're going to do quarterback, wide receiver, running backs, receivers, offensive line. We're going to go into all that, and tight ends will kind of be grouped into receivers and offensive line because they do both. They receive and they block. So let's just look at how Caleb's done for the 24 season. And I know this is not going to make some people happy. I'm not at all trying to crap on Caleb because he's a rookie, and all rookies tend to struggle a little bit to start their career. They need some coaching. They need to go along. They need to see how defensive backs play. They need to see the entire scheme of the organization. So it's not uncommon for rookies to be lower on their completion percentage. Other things can come along, though, and other things can do better. For the entire 24 season, though, he's 33rd out of qualifying quarterbacks out of 38 with a 61.6 completion percentage. But he's 13 out of 38 on yards, 2,612 yards. I'm just going over the most important stats for me for a quarterback. His passing grade is 31 out of 38. His run grade 10 out of 38. So I know some people are going to crap on that and say, well, we just got another Justin Fields. We just got another quarterback who can run, who can't throw. No, if you watch Caleb, if you watch the games, if you watch him play, there is absolutely special in him. He can create some special opportunities. The biggest thing has been the offensive side of the ball, the coordinator, play calling for him properly, getting things in conjunction and doing it well. So it'll come along for this kid. I'm very excited for him. Big time throws, 26 out of 38. Turnover worthy plays, only 12 out of 38, so he protects the ball well. Adjusted completion percentage, 33 out of 38. Pressures that turn into sacks, 29.2% of the time, so 37 out of 38. To me, this is the biggest thing Caleb needs to work on. When you watch him, how he compares to vets, what you see is he doesn't get rid of the ball when he needs to get rid of the ball. And it's not like, oh, he's like Justin Fields where he takes off and runs. No, when he runs, he actually does it very strategically. He just sometimes hangs on looking for the big play a little bit too often. I'm just being fair in this entire situation. Now, I'm going to preface this because a lot of people take what I say and look at me as a Caleb hater. I don't think they do anymore. They know that I'm all in on Caleb. But I see on tape, on film with Caleb, the intangibles that make him a special quarterback. He just needs the right situation now to have someone come in and coach it through him. So time to throw, he's 31 out of 38. He's under 2 seconds now at 2.99. And his NFL passer rating is 27th out of 38 quarterbacks at 86.1. Let's see where this comes at the end of the season. But for now, we can look at how he's done since Thomas Brown has become the offensive coordinator. Now, the first one here, over the season, there's 38 quarterbacks with 150 attempts. And now in the last 3 games, there's 35 quarterbacks with at least 15 attempts. So we're gauging this off qualified quarterbacks from that criteria. So let's see how he's done in the last 3 games. Now, this last game doesn't help him because you can see the completion percentage down, turnover worthy plays down, but big time throws are also down. Pressures turn into sacks are up. So there's some good and there's some bad. You can take that from every game, but we've played some very stiff competition. We've played the Packers, we played the Vikings, and we played the Lions. So this is against some of the best teams in the league that we're gauging this off of. So since Thomas Brown has been the OC, his completion percentage is up, 64.1%, 25 out of 35 quarterbacks. His yards are 3rd out of all quarterbacks, 827 yards. 5 touchdowns to no interceptions. I'm not gauging that because I don't think that's the most important thing. It's how different team, if you're run heavy, if you're scheming different ways. But not turning the ball over is important. So his turnover-worthy plays are 18 out of 35. So only 2.6% of plays are turnover-worthy plays. Big-time throws all the way up, 12 out of 35, 6.2%. So that's huge. Thomas Brown is uncorking this offense a little bit better than Shane Waldron did. He's got the 14th best passer rating overall and the 4th best run rating overall. So he's being very strategic, and they're using him better with his legs. These are all good things, as you see, taking over from Thomas Brown. NFL pass ratings up to 99.2 in the last 3 games. That's 27th out of 38. Time to throw is down just a little bit. Now he's 31 out of, I put 38. It should be 35. 31 out of 35, 2.9 seconds. And his pressures turning to sacks still needs to be worked on. So overall, though, before I leave Caleb's page, I'm very happy with Caleb. I really am. I don't think he's the reason for our losses for our 4-8. If we had better situational awareness, if we were taking care of situations better, we could easily be 8-4. So this team is not a failure team because of the quarterback. It's growing with the quarterback. There are some growing pains. First half of the ball, getting things rolling. He does tend to be a little bit slower with that. Now, is that the play calling? Is that him? He does tend to be a little more inaccurate to start games off. He misses some easy passes. Those things will come. He's still a rookie. So I'm not worried about that. I'm not trying to give him a pass. I'm not trying to be too hard on him. I'm trying to be realistic where we are. And if you have to grade him out right now, I'd say he's right in the middle. He's a middle of the pack quarterback, but with A-plus potential to become a superstar in the league. And I think that's very fair of me. So I showed this graphic before in the other video, but right now, if things continue on the same trend we have since we have Thomas Brown, Caleb's on pace for 3,900 yards, which would break the Bears' overall quarterback record. He already broke the rookie record at 2,193 yards. Would break the Bears record of 38. I think it's still possible this year for sure. He could still break 4,000 this year. It takes some big games. So the Bears' touchdown record is 29. He's on pace right now for 20. If things keep up the way they have been with with Thomas Brown as the OC, he'd be about 23. So unless he has some 4 touchdown games, which is very possible, he could. If he has some 4 touchdown games, he could be breaking the Bears record at 29 as well. But all right, let's go to the receiving grades. And now up here, top part, this is week 13. This is how these guys did. All right, now this is just PFF's grades. They're not the end-all, be-all. I say that in all my videos. But I do want to highlight down here below, as we're on the mini-buy, this is what I said I like to do. I like to highlight where the team stands as of right now. So 132 players in the league with 25-plus receptions, top 20% rating. So top 20% of the league of all those qualified are going to be these numbers right here. Okay, and then you can kind of gauge how the Bears are doing. So in receptions, 50 receptions would be top 20% of the league. DJ Moore has 62, so he's just over it. Keenan Allen, Cole Kmet, Rome Odunze, DeAndre Swift, they're all kind of right there. So we've got some really good playmakers. Yards, 642 is top 20% of the league. You can see DJ Moore's up there, but not really after that. So we have a lot of good receivers. Here's our receiver grades. 81.1 is top 20% of the league. DJ Moore. Now, some of these guys are just having some things this year that they're not. Nobody's having a breakout all-pro year for them. Nobody's having their best year. I mean, other than Rome Odunze, he's a rookie, so that doesn't really count, but it's his best year. But everybody else not having their best year, but also not doing bad. I don't want this to come off as negative. But the one thing that stands out when you look at all these things, our backup tight ends were malpractice misdone this offseason. I want us to keep Brendan Bates only because of lack of options. I didn't want us to bring Mercedes Lewis back in. I said we could because of his blocking. You'll get into the blocking video. It's not even up on there on the blocking. He's just an old dog, not a big dog anymore. He's an old dog who shouldn't even be on the team. So you can see he's only had 1 target, 1 reception for 2 yards, and they're not going to keep using him that way. He's basically a vet presence in the team that's helping guys, but is he? I don't know. We should have had other help than Mercedes Lewis. But Gerald Everett's the big disappointment as well. We brought him in on a multi-year deal. His familiarity with Shane Waldron and his receiving grade, his overall offensive grade, well below my cut line. So I'm not happy with either of our backup tight ends. Cole Kmet's doing just fine. Not elite like last year, but definitely doing well. And when given opportunity, Cole Kmet's doing a great job. So 81.1 is top 20%. Nobody's up there for our receiving grades. Yards after catch per reception. You can see DeAndre Swift, 9.9. But he's a running back that's kind of to be expected for our receivers. Nobody Nobody else is, and this is more of a play calling thing. This is more of a scheme thing. So we'll see how it goes under offensive coordinator Thomas Brown. But this is something they really don't control too much of, its scheme and how they get put in those situations. But running back should be a little bit higher, and you can see Roschon Johnson and DeAndre Swift. But DJ Moore, big after the catch. He does a good job. So very happy with DJ Moore. Our drop percentage. This is a big thing to me when it comes to receivers. 2.5. Being below 2.5 is top 20% of the league. DJ Moore having a few more drops than he should this year. He's got 2 so far in his 93 targets, 62 receptions. He's dropped 2. So I don't love that he's injured, but that's 3.1% is very acceptable. Running back should have 0, so DeAndre Swift having 2.9. Him having a drop is not acceptable. Running back shouldn't have any drops. And wide receivers are gay and tight ends are gauged differently. Keenan Allen, this is high for him, 8.3. He's had 4 drops this year, and they've come in big opportunity times too. And he acknowledges it, but it's got to get fixed. No more drops the rest of the year for him. To bring those down is what we need. Cole Kmet, 2.3. This is very in line for him. He hardly ever drops a ball. I'd be surprised if he did the rest of the year. 2.3 is good. DeAndre Carter, not many opportunities, but still hasn't dropped a ball. So Gerald Everett, again, too many botched opportunities. One thing the Bears really excel at is contested catches. We are doing well with that. DJ Moore at 50%. 66.7 and above is above passer rate, or above for the league, above the top 20%. You see Cole Kmet, 85.7, which is on par for him. Rome Odunze, which we said coming into the league that he is a contested catch master. That's why I wanted him, 70%. So he's up there with the top percents in the league. And NFL pass rating when targeted. Obviously, this shows that he helps his quarterback out. Caleb's NFL pass rating is right near 100 the last couple games. So 115 is really, really good. Cole Kmet is his best help. Keenan Allen doing very well. Roschon Johnson, DJ Moore, all these guys really helping him out. DeAndre Swift. So the problematic ones so far, Rome Odunze, looks like he cut short on some of his routes. They're not connecting. I said for several games that it looks like they're just a little bit off. They don't have quite the rhythm and timing. So something they can work on. So our receiving core, while everyone admits it could be a top 5 type of receiving core, right now is underperforming. So we've got the rest of the season to figure it out, to really come together and to cohese so that we can move into next year looking really good. All right, let's get into rushing. Now, one thing you want to see right here is Caleb Williams, his overall rushing game. This is for week 13, 72.9. He had 4 attempts for 39 yards. This is kind of big. Caleb Williams leads everyone in yards per attempt at 6.4 that are qualified. So if anybody has 50-plus rushes, top 20 rating on the year, the average is 4.5. Well, to be above in the top 20 rating is 4.5. You can see DJ Moore, 5.1, but he hasn't rushed enough to do that. But Caleb, 59 attempts. He has 6.4 yards per attempt. And all other quarterbacks, everyone, he has a 6.4 yards per attempt. So his running grade is really high. So, I mean, it's good for Caleb. Shows that he's smart, situationally aware, but he does take too many sacks. So it's not that he's not aware of the sacks. He just tries to hold on way too long. He'll get better at that, though. What you want to see is elusiveness grading above 74. We don't have that right now. I mean, Rome, but he doesn't qualify. But DeAndre Swift, one of the worst in the league. One of the lowest elusiveness ratings in the league, 40.7. Roschon Johnson, 32.7. He's more of the power back, more of getting those goal line touchdowns. So yards, DeAndre Swift is top 20 in the league in yards, but yards after contact, nobody is getting above the 3.1. That's a top 20. So I said before the season I wanted Derrick Henry. Everybody kind of laughed at that, said he was too old, and now look what Derrick Henry's doing. So it wasn't even looked at. It doesn't appear to be. But we need running grades top 20 to be above 80.1. This is not the Bears' strength this year. We are not the best rushing team in the league, and that's been kind of our strength and our go-to. And this year we're just a little below the mustard. So a 4-8 team underachieving a little bit, and it's showing in the running game. We need to draft in a later round another workhorse type of running back to see if we can develop them. We've got Ian Wheeler coming off injury next year. You got DeAndre Swift, Roschon Johnson, finesse players, but I would like to see us draft someone in the later rounds. I've had a lot of people ask about Ashton Genty. To me, I'm not a fan of Ashton Genty. I watched what UNLV did against him, and I think he's completely overhyped, and I think a team will will waste a first-round draft pick on him. If you want to take a late second, early third on Ashton Genty, I think that's the appropriate place for him. But the way Boise State play calls, it's heavy to him. He's getting 37 carries a game. It's not realistic. And then when you have UNLV, the only good defense, and don't tell me Oregon is a great defense, because Oregon isn't. They're a great high-powered offense who does enough on defense, but they played Boise State early. And if they play him again, if they played Boise State again, they would completely scheme for them different. Oregon's the number one team in the country for a reason. They would scheme differently for him. The way UNLV played Ashton Genty, and now they play in the Mountain West Championship again. They only lost by 5, and there were some questionable penalties in that one. You'll see what Ashton Genty is, and then if they make the bowl games and they play Power 4 conferences. So, anyways, I'm not a super high person on Ashton Genty, but I wouldn't mind the Bears taking a 4th, 5th, 6th rounder on a running back, try to bolster this offense a little bit more. So let's move into run blocking. Move me over here. Boom. All right, so on the left is week 13 for run blocking. This is one of the biggest things I want to show you guys is the run blocking, the pass blocking for this unit. So everyone automatically goes to the offensive line. It's what we need to enhance, what we need to do better with, that's what we have to fix. Number one, we got to go 5 offensive linemen with the first 5 picks in the draft. It's not realistic at all. And I'm going to show some draft videos very soon of players that I'm watching and also value of where they're at. If the Bears don't go defensive line number 1 and number 2 in this draft, first pick and first, second round pick, then it's a failure on Ryan Poles if he's still here, on whoever takes over. Our defensive line is one of the worst defensive lines who's overplaying a little bit. Now, our offensive line is a very average, middle-of-the-pack offensive line. Very average. But the problem is we don't have the depth there anymore. Bill Murray, who stepped up and looked pretty good, has been out for a big chunk with injury. Didn't get his opportunity until well into the season. But a converted defensive lineman who's turned to an offensive lineman who looks pretty good. I hope we retain him and give him more chance to develop. But on the last week, you can see Darnell Wright, who came out of the game, who was injured. Okay, so he was injured and had to come out of the game. Our best run blocker. Tevin Jenkins, 71.8. Matt Pryor, Coleman Shelton. All these guys, those are our offensive linemen for run blocking. The NFL average run blocker is 58.99. Okay, so that's your average. You're looking for your average guy, 58.99. Offensive line average is 63.19. So obviously the offensive linemen are leaving a little better. So here's what I want to look at. Top 20% of offensive linemen, your studs, you've got to have 2 or 3 of these to be able to make a playoff run. That's my opinion. 73.0. So you look on the season for run blocking, 73.0. That's above this line right here. Braxton Jones is right there. Not everyone's going to be top 20% in the league. If they did, they'd have an all-pro team. But you guys know I like the green grades. Look at this, green grades. Matt Pryor, Coleman Shelton, Braxton Jones, Tevin Jenkins, Darnell Wright. Those are all our starters in green grades. Yet everyone continues to talk about the offensive line like it's terrible. The problem is when people get injured and have to come out, look at how Larry Borum did for us. 44.6 grade on run blocking. Now he's gone. Peace. Sayonara. Nate Davis, gone. Peace. Sayonara. 53.7. Doug Kramer, 57.0. Kieran Amagaji, 59.6. When you've got these backups coming in, Ryan Bates, 62.8. When you're having to play so much time with these backups, you don't have the cohesion of your starters. We are absolutely thin at offensive line. I get that. But our starters have not been bad. Darnell Wright, 79.3. One of the best in the league. Bill Murray injured. Tevin Jenkins, 74.6. Braxton Jones, 69.7. Coleman Shelton, 68.8. Matt Pryor, 67.0. Well, how's that translate with pass blocking? Because it's not just about run blocking. The Bears need to do better at the run. But pass blocking, this is week 13. It's so much stat and information in here, I have to separate them. So week 13, look when Larry Borum came in for Darnell Wright. Darnell Wright with an 81.4 grade in this game for pass blocking. Braxton Jones, 86.8. Oh, but you guys are right. You know, you're right. We have to get rid of Braxton Jones on a rookie contract and bring in a first pick in this next draft for someone to replace Braxton Jones because he's doing so terrible. Come on, give me a break. 56 pass block opportunities, no sacks, hits, or hurry from Braxton Jones. I'm not saying he doesn't lose some battles. He's not perfect. He's not a top 10 tackle in the league. but he literally is right outside of that, about 15 to 20 tackle in the league right now. Darnell Wright there with him, but when he got injured, look who came in for him. 29 snaps here by Darnell Wright, 27 by Larry Borum. And you guys saw at the end of the game the big sack that Caleb took, and that sack was not on Caleb. The defender came right around Larry Borum. Larry Borum didn't even touch him, didn't even look at him, didn't even okay, go get my quarterback. Here, go right over here and get him. No problem. In 27 pass block opportunities in this game, he allowed 5 pressures. Get off my team, Larry Borum. Get out of here. Now, Tevin Jenkins did not have his best game. I completely acknowledge that. But he has played good all season. Coleman Shelton, not his best game either, but he's played good all season. Now, you guys are going to come at me with that. There's been some bad plays, and the media, the Bears media, over-glorifies the bad than the good. Let's just look at the overall season. So here's the season. Your NFL average is 61.1 for pass blocking grade. Let me move me over here. I'm too big over there. Okay, 61.1. Top 20% of offensive linemen would put you at around 75. So here's our pass blocking grades. Right here is where your top 20 in the league are. And right below, it's not far off top 20% in the league. Our entire offensive line is almost in the top 20%. 72.3 grade by Coleman Shelton, 73 by Darnell Wright, 74 by Tevin Jenkins, 78.6 by Braxton Jones, 81.0 by Matt Pryor. Bill Murray's injured. Guys, the problem is down here at the bottom. Doug Kramer, Karan Amagaji, Ryan Bates, Larry Borum. Jake Kieran hasn't been terrible, but right there, this is where your problem is. Nate Davis gone. But these guys, when Doug Kramer's playing 41 snaps and getting 3 pressures, that's not good. Karan Amagaji, 27 snaps, 4 pressures, that's not good. Ryan Bates, 68 snaps, 3 pressures and a big sack allowed, not good. Larry Borum, 123 and 14 pressures and 123 opportunities. That's terrible. So it's not the fact that we have a horrible offensive line. It's that our offensive line doesn't have the depth to be able to handle any injuries whatsoever. So Coleman Shelton has played very well. 14 pressures and 544 snaps is not bad. 1 sack allowed. Darnell Wright has allowed too many sacks. But when he doesn't allow a sack, he looks really good. So it's an interesting dynamic there. But he's just got to clean some things up a little bit. He's facing some of the best defensive ends in the league. Tevin Jenkins, only 16 pressures allowed, 4 sacks allowed. Braxton Jones, 3, Matt Pryor, 5. So on the season, a little bit too much. But overall, they look really good. When I say really good, I'm saying we're better than years past. Right now, we're a middle-of-the-pack pass-blocking efficiency team. But really, this is not our biggest weakness. Our biggest weakness is on the defense. I'm going to release that video later. So the defensive line is the biggest weakness of this team. We don't generate pressure. We don't stop the run. That is by far the Bears' biggest weakness this year. I think the secondary is fine if we can clean up the defensive line a little bit. So we have to go 1-2 defensive interior, a strong run defending defensive interior, and a strong pass rushing edge. We need both of those things to complete this team to make it well-rounded. The offense is going to be fine. As you guys watch that, as you watch the games, as you watch how these guys do, the offense is going to be just fine. They really are. Caleb's got this team in good hands. Thomas Brown is play calling very well. I like to see it. We'll see how we go into this game against San Francisco. It's going to be huge. It's going to be a big one. San Francisco is playing for their division. Our guys need to play for some pride and everyone fighting for their jobs and fighting for a spot on this team. So let me know what you guys think, though. How is our offense doing through 12 games? Obviously, we're 4-8, so it's not spectacular. We're not this high-powered, churning beast juggernaut that we kind of wanted to be. But we're also improving, showing growth under Thomas Brown, showing some cohesion. And some guys just need to get on the same page, but we need a better running back too. But let me know what your guys' thoughts are in the comment, though. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate you guys. If you haven't hit the like button, please do so by now. If you haven't subscribed, I don't know why you haven't. Try to bring some different takes. Try to bring some things that other channels aren't showing. Not trying to go for the hype and the I don't know, the taglines, the headlines all the time. Trying to give you guys some stats and inside stuff of those types of things with the geeky, nerdy, analytical things. That's what we always say on this channel, the geeky, nerdy analytics. So do appreciate you guys tuning in. Hope you enjoy the rest of your Thanksgiving weekend. Hope you enjoy your football Sunday. And until next time, dabears and bear down.